Okay, here we go. Got my cup. There's the biggest cup of tea in the world. Hello everyone, how have you been? Hope you've been well. I've just decided this second that I want to start introing my videos by saying what book I'm currently reading and what game I'm currently playing. So let's do that. So this week I'm reading Monsters by Claire Dodera. Basically it's about being a fan in a time when we know literally everything about our idols, all of the sordid little details. And I'm currently playing, or should I say replaying, Fantasy Life on my trusty 3DS, who is still going strong after all this time. Fantasy Life is truly the cozy game that everyone forgot about. Apparently there's a new version of it coming out this year, like a sequel or something, so I will obviously be playing and hoping that it's good. Today I just wanted to do like a kind of chill video, something that you can just relax and zone out with and have it on in the background or something, because I feel like YouTube is getting too serious and I was partaking in this, but it's nice to just, have a little fun sometimes. So head empty, no thoughts, just cartoon characters. I did a short version of this video over on TikTok and Instagram, but I just had such a good time. I thought I would make a whole YouTube video doing it. And also, it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Like, even if nobody watches it, I can literally just do what I want. Yip-ee. So for today's relaxing chill out video, I've picked a bunch of my personal favorite cartoon characters, and then I have chosen a book to go with them that I will recommend to you. There's like no rhyme or reason or any like particular formula to this. Some of them have similar themes, some of them I think the character would enjoy, but it's basically just vibes. We're going off vibes. Also, please ignore this rather unsightly bruise. I feel like people are probably going to comment on it, so I might as well mention it. I went clay pigeon shooting, of all things, and I was not good. I did hit the clay once, and I feel like I need to share this footage because it is actually very badass. Okay, let us begin. Our first character, naturally, guys, is going to be Spider-Man. And this is both the Peter Parker and the Miles Morales Spider-Man. They are both very special to me. For my sweet boys, I will be recommending The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. It's also being adapted into a movie currently, so get on it while you can. The Loneliest Girl in the Universe is a YA sci-fi thriller about a girl called Romy, who is the last surviving crew member on a ship that is heading towards a new planet. And I picked this book for my Spider-Mans for a few reasons. Firstly, because it is extremely good and unique, and I wanted to get it on this list. And secondly, Romy is a big nerd who consumes a lot of fan fiction. And Spider-Man is probably the character that I read the most fan fiction about of any character ever of all time, actually. Romy's just like one of us, she's just a big dork. Also, while Loneliest Girl in the Universe is in theory science fiction, that's what's written down, a lot of it is actually science fact. The stuff about how long it would take to send messages between the spaceship and Earth, for example, which I think the Spider-Men would really appreciate with their scientific brains. Also, Romy goes through it. Like, she goes through a truly traumatic experience all on her own that she has to navigate totally solo, even though she is just a wee baby, which is very like Spider-Man behavior, Also, her parents are dead. Classic Spider-Man behavior. Okay, next up is Blitz from Helluva Boss. And I feel like having this character on your comfort characters list is really telling. And I've just kind of opened a wound up to all of you. So if you're picking Blitz, you're getting any book about horses. I think this is probably self-explanatory. Blitz loves horses. Black Beauty, My Little Pony, the encyclopedia of horses. I don't know, if it's got horses in it, you're getting it. But if we have to be more specific, I would pick Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. The story is about Joey, a horse bought during World War I to fight in the war, and the attempts of 15-year-old Albert, his previous owner, who is trying to get him back home. It is devastating. It is absolutely heartbreaking and soul-crushing, much like Blitz's character journey. I can kind of picture Blitz reading this book under the covers at night and then drifting off to sleep and mumbling Stolitz's name while he's having a nightmare about all the people he's let down and hurt. Anyway, next up is Louise Belcher, my girl, my favorite, my best. I actually love Louise Belcher so much that it kind of makes me unwell. I've done weird things over how much I love Louise Belcher. I bought her hat and I wore it all the time. I even did that weird thing where other people said that they felt like they were like Louise, and I got really mad as if they had personally insulted me, and I had to like take a breather and realize I was being really weird. So for her, she gets one of my favorite books, which is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Okay, pay attention here. I know it's hard. You feel like zoning out when you hear about a book that you don't know anything about, but this is important. This is an extremely good book, and I am trying to put it into your life. So The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon is a Stephen King book, but it is not a particularly well-known one. It's obviously not one of his big names. But that is no comment on its quality, I can assure you. It's a psychological horror, so it's vintage Stephen King, about a 9-year-old girl, 9, like Louise Belcher, who gets lost in the woods when hiking with her mum and her brother. And when I say lost, I mean lost. She's in a diabolical situation. She's having to fight for her life against starvation, against sickness, and also this strange otherworldly presence she believes is following her, which is called the God of the Lost. This book made me cry so much when I finished it. And it wasn't just because I found it like deeply moving, it was also because I felt fundamentally changed having read this book. Do you know those ones? You know those ones? Yeah, you know those ones. I also think Louise would genuinely love this book and find it very inspiring. It's scary, it's exciting, it's gruesome, many of these things that Louise Belcher loves. And the little girl is very like Louise Belcher. You could almost imagine it is Louise Belcher when you're reading it. So if you have ever felt a kindred spirit with Louise Belcher, you would love this book, I'm sure of it. Next up is Deadpool, my one true love, and he gets American Psycho. Deadpool, like American Psycho, is often misunderstood and misinterpreted by his audience. Like, you know those guys who watch American Psycho and incorrectly find inspiration in Patrick Bateman when that was not the intention of the character even a little bit? That's why Deadpool is getting American Psycho, because we all know that American Psycho and Deadpool are actually for the gullies. Deadpool exists for the goyles. He's mine. I mean, he's ours. I don't have much more to say about this. I just wanted to include Deadpool so I could look at pictures of him while I edited this video. Okay, next we have the metaphorical yin to Louise Belcher's yang, which is Mabel Pines. If you've been here for a long time, you'll know the deep-rooted history I have with Mabel Pines and Gravity Falls, and the fact that Gravity Falls is having a renaissance right now is basically everything to me. It was 10 years ago that I watched the final, and the fact that it's back is just wild. So Mabel Pines gets Twilight, and I feel like this one is kind of obvious because Mabel Pines would just love Twilight, like it's no question, but we're going to get into this properly. So Mabel Pines, back in the day when the fandom was quite young, she was really disliked by a lot of this younger audience. I was shocked and appalled to discover this because I was a slightly older fan and I was kind of a Lonely Island fan. I didn't really communicate with other members of the fandoms I was in. I was very much on my own, doing my own thing. So when I would discover like fandom debates or characters people disliked, I would just be so confused. A lot of these fans have obviously grown up and realized that Mabel's actually totally fine. Yeah, she's just like a cute, silly girl, and there's no reason to dislike her. But it's very similar to how everyone used to hate on the Twilight fans and hate them for just being like how they perceived stupid, silly girls. Mabel and Twilight have that in common. Mabel also obviously would have loved Twilight, and she was quoted to have said that only a vampire doctor could steal her blood, and, you know, Carlisle is quite literally a vampire doctor. Okay, next up is one of my favorites on this list, which is Vox from Hazbin Hotel. I love Vox. I'm deeply attracted to the man with the TV for a head. Really weird. Like, how does that happen? I would love to know the psychology behind it. And I think for Vox, we're gonna have to go with The Hunger Games. I think if given the opportunity, Vox would definitely put a bunch of kids in a ring and have them fight to the death if it meant he could make a profit. The Hunger Games realistically is as much a book about fighting for survival in a battle royale as it is about propaganda and media manipulation, all these things that Vox is very well known for. He cares not for the well-being of the viewer nor the star. He cares only about profit and that people are watching. So that one's pretty simple. Vox would have loved The Hunger Games. Next up, we're sticking in the Helluverse. This is the last character in the Helluverse, I promise. Fizzarolli. For Fizzarolli, you're getting Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. So Hell Followed With Us is about a future in which a religious cult has basically brought about the apocalypse with this man-made virus called the Flood, which kind of deformed and killed most people on Earth. The main character Benji runs away from said cult after he has been infected with some kind of special version of this virus, which is beginning his transition into this biblically accurate angel creature. So he hides out in this old LGBTQ refuge center, which is full of this ragtag group of the gayest gays who ever gayed in all of Gayland. And Fizzarolli is a gay demon clown who has mechanical arms. And I love him. I also cosplayed him, and it was the first time I cosplayed in about 5 years. He reawakened something in me. So if you're in the Helluverse fandom, you probably have some kind of religious trauma, and you're probably also gay in some way, shape, or form. So you would fit right in amongst the cast of Hell Followed With Us. There's also the very obvious parallel between Benji and Fizzarolli in that they both go through this severe, gruesome body horror trauma, and at the end of it, they're able to embrace their new life and their new situation. In fact, I think Benji and Fizzarolli would basically be best friends forever because they would have a lot to bond over. Okay, next we have sweet little Kenny from South Park, who I am giving a series of unfortunate events. I'm sure this also needs no explanation. His life is a series of unfortunate events. He dies in almost every single episode. And even without all of the death, his life is unfortunate. And because a lot of kind of gruesome stuff happens in it, I feel like it could have been a great book for Kenny, he would have enjoyed it. Next we have a very quick and simple one, which is Kenma from Haikyuu, and he's getting Ready Player One because he is a big nerd. Kenma would most definitely have won the competition in Ready Player One because it really favors introverts and people who spend all of their time indoors consuming video games and pop culture and other cult media. It's kind of set up for him to win. Next we have Little Mai. I feel like you all probably knew this was coming. You all knew Little Mai was going to be on the list because she's right here. Little Mai is probably one of my most favorite characters of all time, so she needs to have one of my most favorite books of all time, which is Little Women. Also, I said this in my reel as well, but if you're a fan of Little Mai, you're probably like a bit of a brat. That's cool. I am too. And you probably need some of the life lessons that the March sisters can teach you in how to be a good, kind person and have some humility. And yeah, obviously, because they both got little in the title, I was trying to be cute. Okay, the next one's kind of silly. It's Killua from Hunter x Hunter. And I spent a long time thinking about what book I would do for him, and I realized I just wanted him to have a good time. I just wanted him to have some joy in his life, and I feel like if you really love Killua, you probably also need some joy in your life. So you're getting either Wind in the Willows or Winnie the Pooh. I would just really like for you to sit down and have a really sweet, relaxing time, and you can do that with those books. Nothing bad really ever happens in them. You can just enjoy yourself because you deserve it. Okay, next up we have Wirt from Over the Garden Wall. Isn't everybody so excited that it's nearly Over the Garden Wall season again? For Wirt, we're having the Tales of Edgar Allan Poe, but very specifically, The Raven. Wirt needs a collection of poetic prose. It is in his very nature. He's an artsy boy with a tortured soul. I also think Edgar Allan Poe would have loved Over the Garden Wall, or at least my Edgar Allan Poe headcanon would have. I mean, whenever I watch Over the Garden Wall and I turn to my manifestation imaginary version of him, he's always smiling. He's always having a good time. Purely on vibes alone as well, The Raven is such a haunted, angsty story, and it doesn't just suit Wirt, they're very much made of the same material. So last up on the book block, everyone, from Big Mouth is my sweet girl, Missy. Missy loves books. She reads a lot of books, and she's very clever, so it was quite hard to pick a specific book to go with her. But then I remembered that she also loves romance. She was very like me when I was a kid. I see a lot of young Connie in Missy. She introduces the kids in her year to a book called The Rock of Gibraltar, which is like a steamy story about this guy who turns into a horse and runs away with this woman. I also used to dabble in dealing not age-appropriate romance stories when I was a tween, so me and Missy truly have that in common. So I feel like naturally I should give her My Lady Jane, because it's a very similar theme to The Rock of Gibraltar, but I don't think Missy would be satisfied with one book. I think I need to give her a bunch of romantasy books. Okay guys, get ready, because I'm going to give my Missy list. She's going to get My Lady Jane, Twin Crowns, Children of Blood and Bone, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and Ember in the Ashes. These are all for you, Missy. You're welcome. Okay, my darlings, that is going to be all the comfort characters we are doing today. I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are in the world. Please do also share your own comfort characters and any books you've been loving recently. I would always love to hear them. Now I must go back to rewatching Gilmore Girls and working on my own little book. Love you all. Bye. Okay, but seriously, like, little side note, feeling very good about this more chill content. Don't know if anyone's going to watch it, but I just, this is meant to be for fun, and this is really fun, just talking about cartoon characters. Okay, I will see you all soon. Bye.